huge amount of items on the agenda. Tell me a little bit about what is going to start off tonight's meeting.
Well, we have been requested by the Cape Cod Maritime Museum to do a presentation, so we'll be hearing after the public comment and communications from our elected officials and boards. We'll be hearing from Christopher Galazzi, the Executive Director of the Maritime Museum, and they're right on South Street in Hyannis. I'm sure he'll be updating us on their programming and what's new and going on there. So.
Indeed, and I know they've been working with our town's recreation division on Bevan Skiff projects with the kids, and they've expanded their exhibit, so it'll be great to hear from Chris on what's going on down there at the Maritime Museum.
That's right, yes. And then we go into some old business. There's an appropriation order of up to $34,999 for the purpose of hiring an outside consultant for town manager search, and there was at our last meeting, there was discussion on this item, and one of the councilors moved to move on the question, and a couple of councilors weren't prepared to end the discussion, and so Councilor Hebert called a charter objection, which automatically stops discussion. And that's why this was carried over to the next meeting. And, he wanted to get in one other word and didn't have an opportunity to. So that's his prerogative, and that's why this is back under old business. The public hearing on this item was closed, so it's just a roll call item.
Indeed, so a vote is expected to be taken tonight on that.
Yes. And then we have the appointments to the Water Resources Advisory Committee, and this is the new committee that is forming out of the Citizens Advisory Committee. This is in direct response to the update on the 208 plan, the wastewater and water quality chapter. And we've had an overwhelming response to a call of the citizenry to sit on this committee, and I think we've got a good range of expertise and citizens representing throughout the town of Barnstable.
Absolutely.
And that committee will be working very closely with the town on forming the town's comprehensive wastewater management plan.
Sure, kind of working with some of those recommendations laid out in the 208 plan that the Cape Cod Commission crafted earlier this year.
That's right, yeah.
Absolutely. And then also under old business, an appropriation for community preservation funds for Old Colony Road in Hyannis.
That's right, and this is a very small piece of land that could be used for open space and recreation, and it's at the head of the waters of I think it's Snow Creek there. So that item, and then following that under new business is the conservation restriction. When monies are expended from Community Preservation Act, a conservation restriction is required to be held by a third party or outside entity other than the town. And Barnstable Land Trust has agreed to hold that conservation restriction. Even though the item may be acted upon, I'm going to ask for a postponement on that item to our meeting on December 17th to give the Land Acquisition and Preservation Committee and the Conservation Commission a chance to put their eyes on the conservation restriction.
Great.
And then it'll come back to us. And then further under new businesses, amending the code of the town, and this is with regards to a change in the zoning affecting the parking, the open-air parking, especially in the harbor area. So this is forming an overlay district. And this will be referred to the planning board for a public hearing there, and then it will come back to the council, most likely in January or maybe even February too, and for a public hearing at our level as well. But this was, a direct result of the issues with the sprawling of open air parking around the harbor. This is was looked at by I formed the parking committee as a result of a lot of complaints from area neighbors and regulatory services as well. So they've crafted a redo on this ordinance.
Indeed. So kind of governing those, as you say, the open air, those pay to park lots that if you're going to go and kind of go to the islands, there's a number of them up and down in the South Street, Ocean Street area. So that will be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and throughout the process, the parking committee has been meeting, and it's been an open process. Public has been included, and a lot of the owners of the parking lots have come and spoken to the parking committee. So this was not created in a vacuum. This was created with the assistance of a lot of people. So.
Absolutely. Next up, a grant of $40,600 from the DEP for DPW Solid Waste Division.
That's right. And this grant will help with the recycling initiatives throughout the town to provide some recycling containers and carts and some outreach and educational materials, and to purchase a new compactor, and also there's program to develop and dispose of the food waste diversion pilot program. As you know, in your garbage, an awful lot of food, unless you have a backyard where you can do your own self-composting, it really adds to the wetness and the heaviness and the smell.
Absolutely.
of your garbage. So this is being awarded under the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program.
Absolutely.
That grant.
So that would be kind of a pilot kitchen scrap sub-program at the transfer station, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Great. And then a Memorial Justice Assistance Grant for just about $50,000. What is this one all about?
Yeah, and all of these grants, and I will say the following three grants were all crafted by Ann Spillane at the police department. Excuse me 1 minute.
No worries.
My notes are somewhere else.
Well, I will say, while you're looking for that, I do know that Ann Spillane just does a phenomenal job over there at the Barnstable Police Department. She's responsible for so many much-needed grants that has helped the BPD really do their work and move forward in our town. So we were very grateful, I think, to have Ann on staff over there at the BPD.
Yeah, and this is being shared with Falmouth and Yarmouth Police Departments. And for Barnstable, we'll be using it to purchase air card service, I know Falmouth is going to use it to buy tasers and some radar units. And I say air card service. That's the the computers in the officers' vehicles.
Yes.
And the next one, which also came from the Executive Office of Public Safety, that's for $177,000, and that grant, the Barnstable Police Department serves as the primary public safety answering point.
Yes, dispatch right there from BPD. They do a lot of that there.
Yeah. So this grant will allow them to fund some overtime costs that are incurred in the operation of that 911 telecommunications center.
Great. And then training and emergency medical, again, for that dispatch center, $193,000 grant. Now, this is just an amazing amount of money coming into the BPD, I have to say.
I know, and that's going to be used to pay directly for class fees and overtime associated with training. Most of the training for the emergency medical dispatch is done right on site at the Barnstable facility. So this is great.
Great
for the chief and his staff.